Hello. So, for my live concert review project, I was able to go and see the Jonas Brothers live in Milwaukee. It was a super great show. I had a lot of fun. I brought my friend Annie with me. It was her first time really getting out of the house since she gave birth to her kid a while ago. So it was really important that we had a lot of fun. Um, so yeah. So it was at the Pfizer Forum, which is where the Milwaukee Bucks play. It was a super nice stadium, arena concert. It didn't feel very compact, to be honest with you. It was a very crowded show, but I feel like the Pfizer Forum does a very good job at making sure that everyone is like able to get in and out safely and just get into the like arena safely. So I really appreciated that. I personally have never been there before, but I know a couple people who have gone there and they kind of had the same consensus as me in that it's super like convenient to go to. It was an amazing like weather situation. We honestly got so lucky. So instead of parking like at the event, which you could do for like 20, $30, we actually paid way less, $7.99, in fact, for parking, and we parked like 15-ish minutes away. It was a bit of a walk. It was a little bit past the Milwaukee School of Engineering, but looking back, it was definitely worth it because we got out easy, we got in super easy, we didn't have to like drive through a bunch of crowds, and we also saved like $30. Yeah. The only way that it really worked out so well is because of the weather, to be honest. If it was like freezing rain or snowing, it probably would have sucked. So, parking at this location at North Milwaukee Boulevard, 100% recommend if you're ever going to a concert there again. And I will be doing that in the future. So the shirts that we actually made for the concert were these fun. They're bleach dyed, so they're like reverse tie dye, and then we like did some iron on print here, and then my friend Annie, she actually cut these out and sewed these on. So this shirt is a reference to the song Burn It Up by the Jonas Brothers. She personally really likes it. It's not one of my favorites. I don't know. I thought it was really cool. It was a fun activity that we did to kind of like prepare and like figure stuff out during the day and just kind of hang out. A lot of people too were in various costumes. My favorite one was someone dressed up as the Disney Channel games like costumes of the Jonas Brothers, and I thought that was really, really funny. There was also people dressed up as um, the 2008-2009 version of the Jonas Brothers, which I thought was also really, really funny, and she did as well. And honestly, they were wearing everything and anything too. There was people in like glittery shirts and just fun concert attire, and there's people who were wearing like I Love Hot Dads merch, which the Jonas Brothers they all have like kids like Nick, Kevin, and Joe. I think they all have like two or so. And no, we were not at the concert that the person dressed up as the Lorax and got on stage for on as the Lorax during the All American Rejects opener portion. I really wish I had, though. That would have been hilarious. So, who were the openers? Michael Diesla, actually, he's one of like the Jonas Brothers in law. He is like Nick or Kevin Jonas's brother-in-law. He was a DJ. He honestly probably was my favorite opener. He didn't like perform anything. He just kind of got the crowd hyped up and stuff. Frankie Jonas also was an opener, and we'll talk about him later in my thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And then the All American Rejects actually were one of the openers as well, and I thought they were really good. I personally am not like super familiar with them. My friend Annie loved them. as well, so she really enjoyed the show. I knew a couple of their songs, but yeah, they were just part of the hype, and I thought it was really good. Definitely worth the price of admission to see them as well. So my thoughts on Frankie Jonas. He's the youngest of the Jonas Brothers. He's like 10 or so years younger than them. Um, I thought he was mid, personally. He did a bluegrass type music. He said he's really working on trying to find his sound. And I understand that, every artist, goes through like growing periods and really exploring what they want to do as artists. I personally did not enjoy it. I'm not a huge fan of bluegrass. It was bluegrass with kind of a pop flair. I think that the Byzantines were very, very good. That's his band, Frankie Jonas and the Byzantines. They didn't do much like vocal work. They were more like instrumental and backup to Frankie Jonas. They had a song called Road Soda, which they had just released earlier that week. And they wrote it about a road soda. And it was like saving things for like a better time, or like, appreciating things, how they can be used later. I personally did not enjoy it. I thought about how Taylor Swift wrote most of the lyrics to Back to December on a napkin in an airport bathroom, and it was giving wanna be like that, and it just didn't work for me. I think he has a lot of musical talent, and I think the Byzantines are very, very talented as well. I just think that he is trying very hard to be original and not copy, the success of the Jonas Brothers, because I feel like he thinks he's been riding on their coattails, and I also think he's been trying to like ride on their coattails as well. And I feel he thinks he needs to be original and kind of like have his own creative direction, where in reality he wants to kind of do the same type of like not punk, pop rock-esque type performances and type of songs that his brothers do. But yeah, I don't know. He was mid, in my opinion. Definitely appreciated the All-American Rejects more. So the Jonas Brothers, just a brief overview of them. They are a band of brothers. They started in 2005 is when they officially debuted with their album, It's About Time. That was actually released in 2006. Then in 2007, 2008, they entered their Disney era, where they started doing movies like Camp Rock. And they actually had a show on Disney Channel called Jonas, the Jonas Brothers TV show. It had 2 seasons until it was unfortunately canceled, like all amazing television is. And it was funny because they weren't playing the Jonas Brothers, even though the Jonas Brothers were all playing themselves. Their last name in the show was Lucas, so it was like Kevin Lucas, Nick Lucas, Joe Lucas, which I thought was, I don't know, just pretend they're the Jonas Brothers. I thought it was funny. And then in 2013, they broke up and they all kind of did their own thing. Like Nick did his own music, Joe was doing his own music, and that's when they kind of like became adults. But then in 2019, they got back together and they started making music again. They do a pop rock, and I think they have a little bit of like an indie flair to their type of music, which I really enjoyed. And at this concert, the Jonas Brothers Nick and Joe they performed a lot of like their own stuff, which was really good. And they made a point that they wanted this concert tour to be a reflection, sort of, and a tribute to like all the work that they put together, because they played a lot of their old stuff, they played a lot of their new stuff, they played their individual stuff, and they played some new stuff that they were working on together too for us, which I really, really enjoyed, and the audience did too. I think everyone in the concert studio had a great time. It's funny because I actually knew some people who went there from high school, and I saw it on their Snapchat story, and we talked about it, and we're like, yeah, this was so good. So it was nice. But yeah, it was a great concert. So then the song that I'm going to talk about is Tantrum. So a lot of artists that, at least the few that I've gone to see in concert, they'll do like a surprise song or they'll do like an audience pick song. And so the Jonas Brothers, they also did this. It's like an audience request. They just pretty much called on people who were sitting moderately close to the stage and they asked like, what song do you want us to play? And one of them, a little girl, she asked them to play Tantrum. And I was very ecstatic about this because this is my favorite song of theirs. They actually played the entirety of the song. So in contrast to the other requests, they only played like a couple different like verses of it, or they only played like half the song, or they only performed half the song. But this one they did the entirety of. So I was really thrilled about that. And there was a lot of lighting changes in the show and a lot of like laser portions of this, so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, the song is in B major. It's in a 4/4 time signature. So it was pretty fast moving. They didn't speed it up or anything. It's like 135 beats per minute, I want to say. So it's a pretty fast moving like pop rock song about kind of being upset that someone you love is like leaving you, hence the term tantrum. So yeah. Overall, we had a really nice time at the show. I definitely would love to go see them in concert again. I'm really curious to see kind of how they grow into their maturity more. They weren't immature, but I could see them kind of leaning into this new era of like, we are a very experienced band, and I'm really curious to see how they do that. So yeah, I'm really glad that this assignment kind of forced me to kind of like look for stuff to do, and it was great that I could take my friend out for a really nice time, and she had a really nice time too, and she really needed it.